Yo, 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 what up, y'all? It's your boy Rob coming back at you once again with another live stream. So before we get started, you already know what to do. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the bell icon twice. Smash the like button, share this video out to all of your followers, and let's get it cracking. All right. So shout out to everybody that is in the room. This is going to be a quick live stream, hopefully. And then we got Undocumented Bros Global at midnight. I just wanted to get some of these streams that I had planned done so that I can erase all of the information that I have, free up some hard drive space, and start over again. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to everybody that's in the room. If you guys can hear me okay, make sure that you guys give me a thumbs up or a radiation emoji in the chat. If you guys cannot hear me, then give me a thumbs down. I'm going to shout out everybody that's in the building early. We got Sybil in the house. Shout out to Sybil. We got Vega in the house. And shout out to my man, DC Precise. Yeah, Al, Eraserhead Sharpton. Big facts. So before we get into Al, Eraserhead Sharpton, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at Fox. And Fox is roasting Eric Adams. And the reason why they're roasting Eric Adams is because they're saying that he is prioritizing migrants over police funding, which is interesting, right? Because I don't know how true that is. What I saw as far as the information that I came across was that Eric Adams is decreasing the budget as a result of the large deficit that New York City has. And in the second round of cuts, migrant funding is also going to be cut. So I'm not exactly sure what angle they're coming at, but we're going to check it out together. So let's get it.
Government, meanwhile, now allowing nearly 3,000 illegal migrants into New York City to find work. Mayor Eric Adams says more migrants need to be granted work permits. 5,000 have applied so far.
So now it's interesting, right? So as far as people go with Eric Adams, he's not fighting the migrant influx. I want people to understand that. Shout out to my man DeAndre. He is not fighting the migrant influx. What he's doing is he's asking the federal government to provide him with more resources to accommodate the migrant influx. He's not saying send them back, which is crazy, right? Because the Democrats have attacked him, said that he's giving anti-immigrant rhetoric and all of this stuff, and he's not even doing any of that. So, you know, he's not fighting this whole thing. I want people to understand that. And also, from the Undocumented Bros Global, the first episode that we did last night, as we saw, this is a tactic that was suggested for them to do in the UK to provide them work permits, as if that's going to stop the problem. The problem is not work permits. The problem is not jobs. The problem is the fact that there is an infinite amount of flood of illegal migrants coming and crossing the border and dispersing throughout the United States. The influx and the source of them coming is the problem. That is the problem. Any issue or any suggestion that does not decrease that number or does not decrease that rate is not a sustainable solution to this issue. Okay? So if you're listening to any of this and you listen to any of these suggestions and any of these suggestions sound good, remember, if the suggestion does not stop the influx of migrants coming into the border, or it does not stop migrants from coming out of their countries, it is not a viable, sustainable, long-term solution. Now, here's my question. Do you all agree with that logic? If you guys do agree with that logic, then give me a thumbs up. If you guys don't agree with that logic, then give me a thumbs down.
For work permits. Joining me right now is New York Congresswoman Malliotakis, who is introducing a bill today which would prevent migrant housing on federal lands. Congresswoman, I want to get to your bill in a moment, but what's your take on these work permits? We're talking about a job
Now, as
situation.
you guys know, this bill that she suggested, that she put forth to not allow migrant funded operations on federal land, that bill has already been struck down. That bill was not approved. So that's not something that's going to be happening anytime soon, unless they're able to put it back through and it somehow gets approved.
Where Americans need jobs as well. And yet we're opening all the opportunities up to the illegal migrants, aren't we?
Look, the bottom line is we need to have a visa system in which we actually know who is coming into this country, who they are, where they're going, what their intentions are. The way this administration is setting it up, they're just allowing millions of people to come into the country. 50% of them don't qualify for asylum if you look at the court data, and they're abusing the asylum process. I'm all for people wanting to come legally like my parents did to this country and having an opportunity to work and provide for their family.
So it's amazing, right? There's so many of these people who are in on this and who talk about this. And like most of these people themselves are sons, daughters, granddaughters of immigrants. I find that fascinating. You know what I'm saying? I find that highly fascinating. It's extremely fascinating. Shout out to Shamika. What's good with it, Shamika? And real quick, shout out to everybody that's watching. We got 20 people watching and we got 13 likes. If everybody could bang on that like button and get us to 30, that'd be great.
But we need to do it in a way that's not going to hurt Americans, that's not going to make sure that the fentanyl is coming over the border as well. All right. I just met with the Drug Enforcement Administration yesterday, Maria, and they told me 200,000 pounds of fentanyl seized in New York. Okay, 200,000 pills as well, just in one mill in the Bronx. I mean, it's out of control. And the fact that the president allows us to continue and claims that they are the people who are compassionate about this is not good for the migrants. It's not good for American citizens. So look at the women who are being raped, children being raped as well. Where's their compassion?
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen kids coming into America from the Rio Grande, and they are getting their direction from Mexican cartels. We don't know what these Mexican cartel leaders have done to them. But your bill trying to prevent migrant housing on federal lands, how does that change anything? Why do you think federal lands should not have housing for migrants?
Well, look, we passed HR 2, the Border Security Act. Chuck Schumer.
Shout out to Crew Royalty B1. What's good with it, bro? Now, here's my question for you guys. And I asked this before, but there could be some new people in here. So just to get a consensus, how do you all feel about this proposed bill to not allow migrant operations on federally funded land? If you guys think that that's a good idea, then please give me a thumbs up in the comment section. If you guys don't think that that's a good idea, then give me a thumbs down.
Refuses to take measures to secure our border and stop this crisis.
Shout out to Ty Valentine. What's good with
so
it,
we
bro?
have no choice but to try to find ways to stop this flow of individuals. And as long as my mayor keeps providing free housing and services, we're going to see this mass illegal migration. So what my bill does is just say that, look, we can't use our federal parks. This mayor has taken away our schools, assisted living facilities, now our open spaces to house these individuals at a tremendous expense to taxpayers, billions of dollars, and they're cutting police, they're cutting school safety agents, they're down thousands of cops.
Right. That's a fact. That's a fact. Crew Royalty says that would be nice. They should make a law making it illegal to enter the country without documentation as well. Right. However, don't they supposedly already have a law like that? Isn't that something that's already in existence? Hence why it's called illegal immigration. You know what I'm saying? But they don't enforce it. Right. So like what would be nice is that it would be nice if they actually enforced the law that they had. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my man, Kid Gravity. Make sure you guys show Kid Gravity some love. Throw some radiation emoji in the chat. Supporting the channel for 6 months. Definitely appreciate it, bro. Yo, also, if you guys are not subscribed to Kid Gravity's channel, make sure y'all go over there and check him out.
Fewer than we had on September 11, 2001. We're going to go even further back because 2,500 police officers left the force, and this mayor will not replace them. Why? Because he's spending the taxpayers' money to continue these shelters and encampments and continue to provide services that American citizens don't even receive.
Yeah.
And it's outrageous, and it has to stop.
It sure is. It's incredible. All of the cuts happening in New York. I'm with Lee Zeldin today. And Lee, when you see these kinds of cuts to the police, to all of these agencies in New York, because they actually just need the money to pay for these migrants, what's the impact on New York?
The impact is that more New Yorkers decide to just leave. For businesses that are victims of organized retail crime or just individual acts, they are deciding to just close their doors. The loss of jobs, the loss of an economic impact. There are New Yorkers every single day deciding that they've had enough and it's time to leave. Fortunately, Congresswoman Malliotakis is in Congress representing New York City, but her colleagues from all throughout New York City, people like AOC, when opportunities like when Amazon was going to come bring 25,000 good-paying jobs to Queens, she works overtime to do whatever she can to prevent Amazon from showing up. So, Congresswoman Malliotakis, thank you for.
So now here goes my question for you guys: if they are in such need of new jobs, why is it that AOC would do something like that? If Amazon had a plan to come to New York City and provide 25,000 new jobs, and they're claiming that they need all these jobs for migrants, and AOC is part of the squad on the team of the migrants and all of that, then why would she be against that? What kind of sense does that make? What kind of sense does that make? Shout out to Kid Gravity. Kid Gravity said she's talking for Staten Island.
For what you're doing, the one thing as far as economic impacts, I saw news coming out on the congestion pricing. Now, like how are these policies out in New York City going to be impacting Staten Island, the one borough of the 5 where they're smart enough to elect a Republican?
Look, the bottom line here is that our government, unfortunately, keeps taking from hard-working, tax-paying citizens to help fund their disastrous spending and lack of accountability. I mean, the reality is, if Lee Zeldin was the governor right now, we would not be having this issue about the federal lands, because it was Kathy Hochul that went into this contract with the governor and is paying for it. She's also requested military installations.
Shout out to Maggie. Maggie says she grew up in Westchester and she flip-flops like a pancake. Oh, yeah. That's par for the core. You know what I'm saying? Big facts.
Maria, Fort Hamilton in Brooklyn. She wants to use Fort Hamilton and other bases. I am. It was in a letter that she wrote to the president requesting military installation. So I have a bill that will address that as well.
She wants that military
today.
She wants that military installation, Fort Hamilton, to be a place for migrants.
Well, we don't know if it's that particular one, but in general, she has requested that the federal government provide military installations and federal lands to house.
Now, I got a question for you guys. Do you guys remember when Kamala Harris was appointed to be the quote-unquote border czar? You guys remember that? How many people remember that? Kamala Harris was appointed to be the quote-unquote border czar. Whatever happened to that? I haven't heard her refer to the border czar in forever. I haven't seen her address the border or do anything with the border either. And she was deemed, quote unquote, the border czar. Is she still doing that job or what? That's my question for you guys. Let me know.
Migrants. And so, look, we got to do everything we can legally and legislatively to try to stop this. And that's what we're doing.
Congressman, a study from the Anti-Defamation League found nearly 75% of Jewish students have seen or been victims of on-campus anti-Semitism since the start of the Israel-Hamas war. More than 50% said that they don't feel physically safe anymore on campus. 33% say that they do not feel emotionally safe on campus. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer finally spoke out about rising anti-Semitism on the Senate floor yesterday after I've been raising the issue that we haven't heard a peep from him since this all began. Here's him yesterday. Watch.
Jewish Americans are feeling singled out, targeted, and isolated.
Now, this is interesting, right? Seeing how exactly, because they have that option. That option is there, is absolutely there. You know what I'm saying? So now here's the interesting thing, right? We have the highest incident of hate crimes against us. Yet, have you all ever seen it addressed by any politician? When is the last time a politician addressed hate crimes against Black Americans? Have you ever seen it? Our hate crimes against us are substantially higher than all other groups of how hate crimes are recorded. That's a fact. Where is the addressing and dealing with that? Me personally, I don't expect it because I already know what time it is. I already know what time that the government is on. But for people who believe that the government may somehow work on some form of democracy, I'm curious as to what they have done to address that. And shout out to everybody that's watching. We got 31 people watching and we got 22 likes. If everybody can bang on that like button and get us to 50, that'd be great. Shout out to Hurricane IQ. What's good with it, bro?
In many ways, we feel alone. Jewish Americans were alarmed to see some of our fellow citizens characterize a brutal terrorist attack as justified because of the actions of the Israeli government. When Jewish people hear chants like "from the river to the sea," a founding slogan of Hamas, a terrorist group that is not shy about their goal to eradicate the Jewish people in Israel and around the globe, we are alarmed.
Finally, we get some comments from the leader in the Senate, Congresswoman. What do you think he's going to do about it, and what can you do about it?
Well, Maria, last week we actually had a Ways and Means hearing on this topic. I'm proposing that we start holding these institutions accountable. It's very sad what we're seeing on these college campuses, and we need these college presidents to hold these students and hold these professors accountable. And if they don't, we need to take action by looking to strip their 501c status.
So now this is interesting, right? And that's another thing that I'm going to start doing too, is these instances of how these professors are getting removed from these colleges and how they're doxing these students who are pro-Palestinian. We are going to start talking about that more. I've kind of fallen off on that because there's just been so many issues with the migrant crisis situation, but I'm going to try to streamline my process and be a little bit more efficient with the content that I put out. And we're definitely going to be getting into that because that's important. Because what you see here, shout out to Maggie, is the flip-flopping, right? The very people who are allegedly the pro-free speech people, this pear-headed wide woman right here is sitting up there talking about to cancel these folks. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my man Jay Fields. You know they got that app on the iPhone. It's called Find My Give a Fuck. If you hit that button, you might be able to find it. You know what I'm saying? Jay Fields says, damn, I checked my pockets, looked in the couch, still can't find a fuck to give. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, if after you have a really bad stomach ache, in situations like this, after you get off of the toilet, you might find the fuck to give right in there. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, just for next time, take that advice and see how far it gets you, buddy.
By stripping federal funding, by making sure that student federal aid cannot be used at those institutions. Let them be used at another institution that does not promote and foster anti-Semitism. We need to look at student visas. If those foreign students are participating in these anti-Semitic activities, we need to have those visas revoked. I think those are some ideas of where we can go with this, and also make sure that.
Shout out to Maggie. Yeah, I got channel numbers like a TV show. You know what I'm saying? Black Light Revelations 1, Chicago. Black Light Revelations 2, Cleveland. You know what I'm saying? I need to do it like that. You know what I'm saying?
Our educational institutions are using the IHRA definition of the Holocaust when they're educating our young people. I think that is a major problem as well. And so I think those are just some ideas that I propose. I'm drafting legislation that would address it.
You know, what's amazing about what Congresswoman Malliotakis just said about the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism, our federal government doesn't even define what anti-Semitism is.
That's interesting. Now, they're outraged about that. Now, mind you, this is the anti-woke crowd. This is the anti-woke crowd who's sitting up there saying this, right? Remember, the plights of other people don't matter, but now they're advocating to educate people about the plights of other people. You know what I'm saying? Make it make sense. Shout out to Hurricane IQ. Hurricane IQ says, hey, Rob, can you build a device to clone yourself? We need like 5 of you to give us all of the news. Trust me, eventually we'll get there. You know what I'm saying? We'll get there eventually. You know how YouTube is. You know what I'm saying? YouTube be on some nonsense. You know what I'm saying? But it's all good though, because we will persevere. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Zentober. What's good with it, bro? So now next, I want everybody to take a look. I hadn't seen Tales from the Crypt in a very long time, but when I was watching YouTube, I came across the Crypt Keeper. Okay? There you guys go. MSNBC went and found a casket. They opened it up and they used a defibrillator and brought this corpse back to life. And they brought this corpse back to life to interview a carcass, Mayor Eric Adams, in his dying career. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the anti-sheep. What's good with it, bro? So we're going to sit here and see what they're talking about. Now, I don't know what funeral home Al Sharpton went to get this makeover. You know what I'm saying? But shout out to that funeral home. If he has any business cards, you know, we all have relatives that are getting up there in age. You know, they'll have your relatives who are on their way to make the transition looking just as plastic as Al Sharpton inside the casket for a good presentation on their homegoing celebration. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to the funeral home. that Al Sharpton went to get his makeup done before this interview. So let's check this out.
Me as New York City Mayor Eric Adams. Mayor Adams, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
I want to get into the migrant situation and budget challenges, but I wanted to have you also to discuss a number of issues facing the city. But first,
I'm trying not to laugh, man. Eric Adams looks like he already knows that Al Sharpton about to be on some BS. Shout out to B1 first. What's good with it, bro? Eric Adams, you see how his mouth look, hold on, I'm about to move it back a little bit. You see how his mouth is like is doing that base head movement? He looks like he can already tell that Al Sharpton is about to be on some nonsense. You know what I'm saying? So let's check this out.
thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
I want to get into the migrant situation and budget challenges, but I wanted to have you also to discuss a number of issues facing the city. But first, though I have to ask you about several items in the news related to you and to your administration. On Wednesday, a lawsuit was filed against you by a woman who says you sexually assaulted her while you both were working for the city in 1993.
Now, I want to get to consensus on this. I want to get people's opinions about this. If you all believe that Eric Adams is guilty of this SA that they're accusing him of, give me a thumbs up in the comment section. If you guys don't think that he's guilty of it, then give me a thumbs down. That's my question. Do you guys think that he's guilty of this or no? Me personally, I don't think that he's guilty of this. I don't think that he is. Now, I don't have any evidence of that. You know what I'm saying? This is just my assumption. I'm just assuming, but I don't think that he's guilty of it. I don't think that he did it. You know what I'm saying?
You said Thursday you don't recall even ever meeting the accuser. What more can you tell us about this case, if anything, and why it's being brought if, as you say, you didn't even know the person?
I don't.
So as you see, Al Sharpton, you know what I'm saying? Al Sharpton using that cue card. You know what I'm saying? Al Sharpton is using that cue card. Now, I got another question for you guys. The other question that I have for you guys is, do you all feel that all of this stuff is happening to Eric Adams because of the things that he said in the way of criticism of the Biden administration? If you guys feel that that is the main reason why all of this stuff is happening, thumbs up. If you guys feel that it's not and there's some other reason, then let me know what that reason might be that you think that. Yeah, and I got to agree with Abdul. Abdul says, I haven't seen the evidence, but at this point, guilt doesn't matter. Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. Shout out to Emperor Rex. What's good with it, bro? Hurricane said, have you ever seen the compilation of him reading a teleprompter? Nah, I got to check it out, though.
Don't know that. And I want to be clear, the law that was passed that allowed a look-back period of any form of action like
Shout out
this,
to David Brown.
I support
What's
the
good
law.
with it, bro?
I think it should be used and not abused. I have no idea, why this was brought forth. I don't recall ever meeting this person. Over 30 years ago, this was stated, took place. And, people like you who know me, I have always fought on behalf of not only women specifically, but in general, uplifting people and protecting people. I protected people for 22 years as a police officer. And I know what it is to make sure that people should always receive the protection that they deserve. And we don't know the full scope of what this allegation is, but it's going to follow the process. And I'm going to continue to do what I have to do to make sure the city navigates out of some challenging time.
Now, there's also the FBI campaign finance investigation. Federal authorities have this month raided the homes of your chief fundraiser as well as another aide and seized several of your electronic devices. The probe is reportedly looking at whether a Turkish consulate building may have been approved improperly.
Now, let me ask you guys this question. What about this particular charge? This one right here. Do you guys think that there's a possibility that he's guilty of this? If you guys think that there's a possibility that he's guilty of this, thumbs up. If you guys don't think that there's a possibility that he's guilty of this, thumbs down. Now, I think that it's more likely that he had some type of involvement with this than the SA charge. I think that there's a higher likelihood of possibility that he could have actually been, you know, involved with this, and less of a likelihood that he was involved with the essay.
Said you are cooperating with investigators and haven't been accused of any wrongdoing. But for city residents who are concerned about corruption and who have read stories about your past trips to Turkey and have questions, what is your message to them right now, Mr. Mayor?
Well, I've been consistent on one thing, Reverend Sharpton, to my team. Number one, we participate in all investigation and we follow the law. We follow the rules. You know, as I stated, as a former law enforcement person, I know what it is to follow the rules and follow the law. And I'm telling my team to do that. We want the same thing that the SDNY, the Southern District, wants, is to find out exactly what took place. And people point to the number of trips to Turkey. I traveled to Africa 7 or 8 times, South America, Central America, to China. New York City is an international city, and we have some of the largest population of the various diasporas of all of these various groups. And I tried to make it clear that we're a welcoming city, and we want to have these international relationships. The United Nations
Shout out to
sits
Drake.
in,
What's good with it, bro?
off the East River of this city, and that's the role I have as the mayor of the city of New York. So
Shout
we're
out
going
to Carlton.
to be
What's
as
good with you?
cooperative as possible to give any information that is needed. I continue to tell my team to cooperate and follow the rules and the law, and that's what we're doing.
Now, switching gears, I was honored to have you join us on Thursday at National Action Network's House of Justice. And
man, Al Sharpton looks horrible in that picture. So now let's just assess this picture real quick, right? Do you all think that he had the funeral home take care of him before this picture? Or do you think that he had the funeral home take care of him specifically for this interview? He really look and tell from the Crypt Keeper like in this picture. You know what I'm saying? And of course, there's always some type of barbecue, some type of fish fry, some type of food involved. You see them, they cooking up a bunch of nonsense. Now, you guys recall what I was talking about? Do you remember when Brandon Johnson gave that speech to those people in Chicago? And he was sitting up there talking about how, oh, he used to listen to Tupac and all of this nonsense. What does that have to do with what you're going to do as far as politics? When are these politicians going to learn that the disrespect is not being tolerated anymore? Shout out to my man, Win Loser Rug. What's good with it, bro? When are people going to learn that? That's my question. When we watched a small amount of that Brighton Park migrant encampment meeting, Ray Lopez did not come at any of those people with any of the charm and nonsense. These people always come when talking business with charm and nonsense. Here's my question for you guys. What is it going to take to get these politicians to realize that they're going to have to start taking a different approach? Or they're just not going to get any cooperation or support whatsoever. Any of them. I'm talking about Republican or Democrats. Because don't make no mistake, the Republicans believe that they're entitled to a free black vote too. The Republicans believe that they're entitled to a free black vote because Democrats haven't been doing anything for black people. Now, remember, the Democrats act and don't say it, but the Republicans say it. And the Republicans have made a campaign off of attempting to tell the world that black people are not intelligent. Would you agree? If you guys agree with that, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. So now, as far as I'm concerned, me personally, I wouldn't jump ship to the Republicans until they decided to do some damage control, which they're not going to do, which means that a jump ship situation is never going to take place. Me personally, I'm under the belief that it's necessary for us to build our own ship because neither ship is accommodating. Anytime I hear people say, well, we need to make a choice, X, Y, Z, we need to make a choice to put into place extra political means where we can bully both political parties like how some other people bully the political parties. Because other people most definitely bully the political parties. These people are here to be bought. Politics is a business. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my man, Win Loser Rug. Win Loser Rug said, off topic, but that master morality and slave morality segment from earlier had me thinking all day. Bro, it's some deep stuff, bro. It's some deep stuff. You know what I'm saying? People got to sit back and really be introspective about that. And I can't sit there and try to shame people, you know what I'm saying? And sit there and be like, well, y'all need to do this because, and this, that, and the other. Man, listen, every possible mistake along the way, I'm guilty of making. You know what I'm saying? I've been in that mentality where I, at one point in my life, thought like that. I even said it in the video. You know what I'm saying? I used to be nice, really nice to people. And then I realized that there was not really a lot of, benefit or utility to conduct myself that way. So I had to adjust. You know what I'm saying? I don't really like to tell people like what to do because I believe that people should be the master of their own destinies. You know what I'm saying? But what I do like to tell people is to make sure that you do a efficient and thorough and accurate and honest evaluation. You know what I'm saying? So that you're able to actually honestly identify your problems and tie up any loose ends that you may have. Fix any issues that you might identify. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody has their own unique situation. You know what I'm saying? And the uniqueness of the situation makes it where I don't have, the full ability to be able to tell somebody exactly what they should do. You know what I mean? Shout out to the Hula Gang. What's good with it, bro? So that's why I just tell people, hey, check out this. What do you think about this? Sit back, think about it. You know what I'm saying? See if you notice anything that, resonates with you. And then, implement whatever it is that you might need to implement to accommodate yourself. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to John Guillory and shout out to Denise Scales. What's up? What's good with y'all? Appreciate you, Denise. And yeah, that's an actual thing. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my man Izzy. When he used to do his live streams on the other app that we used to be on, he used to talk about what's the name of that? Oh, why can't I think of it? Epigenetics. You know what I'm saying? With the post-traumatic slave syndrome. And, it's difficult to genetically attribute a state of mind to biology, but you can definitely attribute the influence of a state of mind to environment. And that environment that we've been in is definitely an environment favorable to the development of that type of morality. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the reasons why I say, hey, listen to that, sit back, think about it, reevaluate it, see if you see any, areas in your life where you may be moving like that and do what you need to do. You know what I'm saying?
Harlem to serve Thanksgiving meals to the needy. And you've been there just about every year of National Action Network, about 31 years, and you've certainly been there and on Christmas since you've been mayor. But the thing that was different this year, a number of migrant refugees seeking shelter in our city right now, and you've been very vocal about the dire situation that large U.S. cities face as temperatures drop and shelters are full. Many of these migrants are coming from climates that they certainly are not ready for winter here or in Chicago or other places. What needs to happen right now to address this issue, Mr. Mayor?
And as you're right, as I joined.
This is interesting, right? Let me ask you a question. You see how Al Sharpton is doing this good professional interview with all of his embalming fluid and funeral home makeup on, right? Looking like he freshly stepped out of a casket. Now, my question for you guys is, when have you ever seen him interview anybody this hard about reparations or anything that would be specific to Black Americans, foundational Black Americans, Native Black Americans, American descendants of slaves? When has he ever asked these kind of issues? He's not, and he's not gonna, because Al Sharpton can only be Al Sharpton with the help of MSNBC or with the help of CNN. You know what I'm saying? Al Sharpton has no charisma. Al Sharpton is not able to carry his own podcast, his own broadcast, his own anything. He needs all of this infrastructure to be able to remain relevant. He's so irrelevant. They literally got him up out of a casket, and as you can see, the funeral home applied that makeover. Shout out to Torian Rain. What's good with it, bro? The funeral home applied that makeover. He straight from Hennessy and Sons to the studio to do this interview. You know what I'm saying? Straight from Hennessy and Sons. You know what I'm saying? to do this interview.
And the National Action Network and others on Thanksgiving Day. Throughout the week, on Wednesdays, I'm out giving out food every Wednesday, just about on 34th Street. But we also travel throughout the city. And your analysis is a correct one. As I saw the faces of people, I saw different groups, people coming from West Africa, from South and Central America, Russian-speaking locations, all coming through our southern border and making their way to New York City, Chicago, Los Angeles, Houston, and other municipalities. And as you're seeing what's playing out in Massachusetts right now, where they basically stated they have no more room. We've opened over.
Look at that. So that's in Massachusetts. Now, you guys remember, I did a couple streams where we went over what was going on in Massachusetts. But like I said, there's no more room. You know what I'm saying? Like there's nothing you're going to do to be able to increase the physical amount of room that's there. So again, the flow of migrants has to stop. And, you know, Eric Adams has not produced any rhetoric stating that what he wants is for the flow of migrants to stop. He wants more money from the United States government, from the federal government, to accommodate the migrant issue. So, you know, as much of a quote unquote resistance and critique of Joe Biden that it may seem that Eric Adams has, we got to make sure that we keep a pure assessment of the critique, and he's not critiquing the migrant issue. He's critiquing the fact that he doesn't have enough money to service the migrant issue, so it's harder for him. Now, he is, you know, criticizing Joe Biden, but the criticism is not favorable because his criticism would not stop the influx of migrants into New York, and the criticism that he's providing also will not stop the need for resources going to New York City. You know what I'm saying? It's still going to be hell of expenditures, and it's still going to be a lot of it's still going to be hell of expenditures, and it's still going to be a lot of taxpayer dollars going out for things that can't be utilized by the taxpayers. So, you know, when people kind of say, you know, Eric Adams is resisting Joe Biden, he's only halfway resisting Joe Biden. If you ask me, he is speaking out that he's not getting what he wants, but he's only halfway resisting. You know what I'm saying?
Right now, where they basically stated they have no more room. We've opened over 210 what we call humanitarian relief centers, several different various shelter system, even opened a large HERC on Floyd Bennett Field. This is going to cost us $5 billion during this fiscal year, $7 billion we need to find in January. And it's economically not sustainable, and the place is not sustainable. In other cities, people are sleeping in precincts.
Hey, shout out to John Guillory. John said, Al Sharpton looking like the pastor off Vampire in Brooklyn, played by Eddie Murphy. His head about to catch on fire at any moment. I thought that he already was on fire because it looked like somebody put him out already, and his hair just laid down like that. I don't know. We might have to debate. We might have to have a debate on that. You know what I'm saying? Looked like his hair got fried, dyed, and laid to the side. You know what I'm saying? You know, like he got fried, dyed, and laid to the side. You remember on Malcolm X when Denzel Washington put that conch in his hair? Al Sharpton looked like he slept with a wave cap on. Al Sharpton looked like he slept with a do-rag on, with a wave cap on top of that, with his hair slicked back with conch, and then washed it out in the morning. That's what he looked like.
In hospitals, sleeping on the streets. We must come up with a real decompression strategy and ensure that we can use the over 108,000 different cities, towns, villages, and municipalities to spread this.
This is the hip hop mayor. You know what I'm saying? This is the hip hop mayor. Eric is chilling. Al is chilling. What more can I say? Top billing. You know we out here to get them biscuits. Oh man, you know we out here to get them biscuits. Al got the spatula. Eric got the skillet. All that noise about assault, she needs to kill it. Will I get a second term, Lord willing? Oh man, go call my homies in Turkey, top billing. You know what I'm saying? Oh man. That's horrible, man. Audio one. You know what I'm saying?
problem across the entire country and not just in certain cities. It is not sustainable. It's unfair to the migrants and it's unfair to New York's taxpayers in the city.
Yeah, I saw an article in the New York Times just the last couple of days that there's been thousands of migrants coming in from China that come through South America. So it's not just as easy as just trying to hit one nationality as some.
Facts, man. He need to make, you know what? I got the perfect Eric Adams, bro. You need to holler at me. Hip hop mayor, you need to holler at me, bro. I got the perfect track for you. He need to get a dollar bill with Joe Biden in the place of where George Washington is on the dollar bill. But it's gonna have Joe Biden on there. And then he got the fur coat like Frank Lucas, you know what I'm saying, with the furry Kango pork pie hat, and burn that dollar bill up with Biden's face on it. With that Jay-Z song where they sampled Nas, I'm out for dead presidents to represent me. Say what? I'm out for presidents to represent me. Say what? I'm out for dead presidents to represent me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then Eric Adams can get on that Jay-Z Brooklyn flow. Man, what? I'm out for dead presidents to represent me. Burn that dollar with Joe Biden's face on it. Man, what? I be gangster, man.
People for their own biased reasons want to do. But you're taking heat, as other mayors are, for budget cuts that you have to propose earlier, and you did earlier this month, cutting spending at every city agency and even closing libraries on Sundays. You've talked about the cost of caring for migrants and the need for more federal help. But what do you say to critics who argue your cuts to social spending in particular will only make it worse for the problems of homelessness and crime that you're trying to address? Could the cuts be done differently than what you've laid out? And what could the federal government do to help you and other mayors?
And I joined them. I know New Yorkers are angry. I know migrants are angry. They want to work. They've called for the opportunity to work in our city.
So again, I don't know. See, this is what I'm talking about right here. Now you see how Eric Adams, he flips it to the migrants want to work. The work is not going to be sustainable. Like, that is not going to fix the migrant influx issue, because even as they create jobs and the jobs get filled, it's not going to stop the flow of migrants, which means that they're going to have to create jobs for migrants on a one-to-one basis. First of all, who knows if that amount of jobs is even available to be created? Then what's going to end up happening is you're going to end up creating jobs that are not getting anything done, where you're just paying people. You know what I'm saying? And also, that doesn't stop the issue of, even if jobs are created on a one-to-one ratio, one job per migrant, that does not address the flow of migrants coming in. Because what that would mean is that every time a new migrant entered, a new job would have to be created, which we know that there's thousands of migrants coming in at a time. You know what I mean? So again, that's not a sustainable solution, if you ask me.
In our state, in our country, where we have a large number of jobs that are available. This is not the type of budget I want. I want a budget where I am investing in children and families and clean streets and making sure we continue to get to success.
Now, if that's the kind of budget that you want, then why are those the first things that you cut in your budget cut plan? I want y'all to listen to what he just said, because literally everything that he just said, those are the things that he got rid of first in his budget cut plan. So if you do prioritize those, then in your budget cut plan, you would have made sure to preserve those things. But those were literally the first things that you cut. You know what I'm saying? And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, shout out to everybody that's watching. We got 65 people watching, it looks like, and we got 43 likes. If everybody can bang on that like button and get us to 100, that would be great.
In our city, in our state, in our country, where we have a large number of jobs that are available. This is not the type of budget I want. I want a budget where I am investing in children and families and clean streets and making sure we continue to get the success that we're seeing in decreasing crime.
He said children and clean streets, literally two of the first things that he cut off the budget. You know what I'm saying? Literally two of the first things. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Torian. Torian says the biggest question that's asked is, why are they doing it? But they never seem to answer said question. Exactly. And a lot of times, right, if they don't answer the question, them not answering the question is the actual answer to the question. You know what I'm saying? Would you guys agree? Them not answering the question in many cases is indeed the answer to the question.
In the city, homicides and shootings are down in double digit. Now, transit system, you're seeing 4 million riders peaking out back on our system. This is not the budget I want, and I respect the fact that New Yorkers are angry. But by law, I have to balance a budget 2 years out. And the November plan, that was a readjustment, was the realization that the numbers we put in place at the beginning of the year, last year, was not really fitting what the costs were actually going to be. And so by law, I'm required to balance the budget. And when you're looking at roughly $33 billion is really what we have discretion on, the money has to come from somewhere. So we're seeing a perfect storm. We're seeing the sunsetting of the COVID dollars that we received. We're seeing union contracts that had to be settled. Many union members were going without contracts. And then we're seeing the migrant crises, and we're not recovering financially as fast as we want. So the team is doing a great job of trying to minimize the pain, but this is the reality that we're faced if we don't get the help from the national government that we deserve.
Mayor Eric.
So now, as you guys can see, this is exactly what I was saying. He's asking for the federal government to supplement the assistance that he requires to accommodate the migrants. That's what he's asking for that for. So he's still not, quote unquote, anti-migrant. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to Carlton. Carlton said he is explaining him to the Boule King. Facts, the undead Boule King. You know what I'm saying? Al Sharpton is the vampire of the Democrats.
Eric Adams, thank you for being on Politics Nation with me tonight.
So yeah, so there's Al Sharpton. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Eraserhead. So now here's a question. There's been talk that Andrew Cuomo is looking to replace Eric Adams as the mayor of New York. Okay. And so what's interesting about it is they're going to be going over this on the Hill, and we're going to check some of that out. Okay. So let's take a look at this and see exactly what they're talking about on the Hill.
New York City Mayor Eric Adams has downplayed rumors that former Governor Andrew Cuomo is plotting to launch a bid to take over Adams' seat.
See, so yeah, these are rumors. See, the Hill posted this tweet. It says New York City Mayor Eric Adams downplayed recent talks of the possibility of former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo launching a bid for the city's mayoral seat. Now, that's interesting, right? Because how do you leave as the governor in shame, and then all of a sudden, just out of the clear blue sky, you're resurrected and you're going to run for mayor? Does that make any sense? If that makes sense, give me a thumbs up. If it doesn't make any sense, then give me a thumbs down.
Adams' seat. The current mayor said on Monday, "I don't see him running. I think he is looking at his next political move, and there's a lot of things he can look at, but I have to be ready to run New York, and that is what I'm focused on doing right now." Politico reported last week that Cuomo is weighing a run for New York mayor amidst Adams' legal woes.
So there you go. Politico posted this tweet here. Cuomo weighs run for New York mayor amid Adams' woes. How did, like, again, make this make sense? Shout out to Antithesis. What's good with it, bro? Make this make sense. Somebody make this make sense. How do you just resurrect? We know how Andrew Cuomo managed to just resurrect. But I'm serious though. Think about this. All of a sudden, like Andrew Cuomo, and all of a sudden he's got all the answers of how to run and fix New York. Facts. Shout out to Carlton. Carlton said Cuomo is hustling backwards, right? Governor to mayor pipeline. What I think we're looking at here is Governor Cuomo just trying to get back into any position that he can get back into and then work his way back in. You know what I'm saying? So this is the human to doing the worm pipeline, if you ask me. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Caldona. This is the human to doing the worm pipeline.
In case you forgot, Andrew Cuomo resigned as governor over 2 years ago amid allegations of sexual harassment and claims that his administration covered up COVID-19 nursing home deaths.
So now, so he resigned, right? Eric Adams is saying that he didn't do this, and he resigned for literally the same type of charges that, well, not even the same type of charges, but similar charges to what Eric Adams is alleged with right now. It's a shout out to Lena. Lena said Cuomo is making a Sheila Jackson Lee move. He's trying to waddle his way back into the mayor's office, or waddle his way into the mayor's office.
Adams' legal woes. In case you forgot, Andrew Cuomo resigned as governor over 2 years ago amid allegations of sexual harassment and claims that his administration covered up COVID-19 nursing home deaths.
Mayor Adams, on the other hand, was accused of sexually assaulting a woman in 1993 in a legal filing made last week. Filing names Adams, the Transit Bureau of the New York Police Department, and the New York Police Department Guardians Association as defendants. Per the filing, the plaintiff was sexually assaulted by Eric Adams in the early 90s while they both worked for the city of New York, allegedly. Adams told reporters on Thursday this, quote, absolutely did not happen, and he does not recall ever meeting this person. Here he is on MSNBC.
I have.
So there we go. Now we about to look at the interview that we just watched, a little snip of it.
Have no idea, why this was brought forth. I don't recall ever meeting this person. Over 30 years ago, this was stated, took place. And, people like you who know me, I have always fought on behalf of not only women specifically, but in general, uplifting people and protecting people. I protected people for 22 years as a police officer, and I know what it is to make sure that people should always receive the protection that they deserve.
Joining us now to discuss is movement lawyer and host of the Olurinati Show, Olayemi Olurin. Welcome.
Morning, everybody. Hi.
It's good to see you again. Now, help us understand the context of this, because Eric Adams is not the only one. He's one of a handful of people who have recently, in the last week or so, been charged or accused of sexual assault allegations, kind of from the past, and it seems to be the result of this New York Adult Survivors Act expiring last Friday. Can you set up for us why it is that we're seeing so many of these new claims right now?
So before she goes into why it is that they're seeing so many of these new claims, my question for you guys is, why do you think that we're seeing so many of these new claims? Because remember, this law was expiring. You know what I'm saying? It's the Survivors Act law or whatever. So why do you all think that we're seeing such an uptick in these numbers? And real quick, speaking of uptick in the numbers, shout out to everybody. We got 73 people in here. And we got 53 likes. If everybody can bang on that like button and get us to our 100, that'd be great.
Because the Adult Survivors Act actually allowed, I think, one more year, tacked on one more year onto the statute of limitations. And so now people are basically in the last year in which they can file these suits. And so that's why it's happening. But I think it's important to remember that this is not the...
Hey, shout out to Ricky Jones. Ricky said, Brianna Joy Gray is annoying. Hey, don't let Kid Gravity hear you say that. Don't let Kid Gravity hear you say that. You know what I'm saying? Don't let Kid Gravity hear you say that. You know what I'm saying? And real quick, y'all, don't forget, make sure that you stay in the stream. It'll take you into the premiere window for the next stream, which is going to be Undocumented Bros Global.
The only problem on Eric Adams' desk right now, before the sexual assault allegations actually came into the picture, he's already being investigated by the FBI for issues related to his campaign and financing and funding. And the FBI raided his funds manager, raided there and took his phone. So Eric Adams has big problems all around beyond just these sexual assault allegations.
Yes, we talked about the FBI issue on the show earlier, or last week, or something like that.
Hold on real quick. Hey, hold on real quick, man. Hold on real quick. Wait a minute. Hey, this lady right here, Olayemi Olurin, movement lawyer and political commentator. Yo, have y'all ever seen this? She's a YouTuber too. I thought she looked familiar. Have y'all ever seen her YouTube video? She actually did a video where she went in on Eric Adams, man. I didn't know that she was a lawyer, but yeah, she's a YouTuber. Well, matter of fact, I'm finna show y'all this video real quick. Hold on real quick. What is her name? Olayemi Olurin. Oh, I know I'm slaughtering that name. Hold on real quick. Let me see. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, she the one that made. Yeah, she did. She made that Eric Adams video. The worst mayor in America. Hold on, look, I'm finna show this to y'all real quick. Look at this. Y'all ever seen her YouTube channel? Y'all ever seen any of the YouTube videos that she did? This her channel right here. And then this is that video that she did about Eric Adams. Man, this was 1 hour and 49 minutes. I actually had a thumbnail made and everything. I was gonna react to that video, man. She lit him up on that video. Yeah, I think I actually posted it in the Discord. Yeah, so they got her. So I didn't know that she was a lawyer. So you know what I'm saying? Shout out to her. I just thought she was a YouTuber. You know what I'm saying?
Raided there and took his phone. So Eric Adams has big problems all around beyond just these sexual assault allegations.
Yes, we talked about the FBI issue on the show earlier, or last week, something like that. So definitely there are other issues at play. Yeah, look, I mean, I don't know. While everyone has the right, to make accusations, even if they were from a long time ago, I think frankly it's hard to adjudicate issues from more than 30 years ago. We're talking in this case, even if they have a right to do it. I don't know, how much, if I was a voter or a supporter of Eric Adams.
Now here goes my question for you guys. How do you all feel about this law? MC Fact says she looked like she's balding. How do y'all feel about this law? Where I think it expired already, but they'll probably put it back into place or put something similar to it in place. Gotta make sure we put the good comments up on the screen. You know what I'm saying? MC Fact crazy.
I'm not sure I would necessarily judge him differently for something this long ago, without trying to, weigh into the truth of the matter or trying to decide. That seems tricky.
I think even if you felt that way, which I think is, I'm sure, reasonable for some people, I think it's important to remember that Eric Adams' approval rating that just dropped last week is 36% across the board. So even if it weren't for the sexual assault allegations, New Yorkers...
I would actually agree with that. That's a great assessment, John. John says that's what they do in New York politics. Hit people with SA allegations when they want them gone. They did the same thing with Cuomo too. Facts. Facts. If you guys agree with John, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree with John, give me a thumbs down.
They're dissatisfied with his administration in terms of the massive budget cuts that we just saw to libraries, to school, to education, and then yet budget raises for the NYPD and new robots going around in the subway stations, despite the fact that the libraries are now closed on the weekend. So Eric Adams, people are dissatisfied with his administration for a series of things: that stop and frisk is back up, that they're getting ready to do a federal receivership, that he has been caught lying about several things, right? There have been a number of different incidents that have been in the news. So New Yorkers are dissatisfied with Eric Adams, even if they didn't buy into the sexual assault allegations. They already want him out, it seems. And I think that has a lot to do with what you're seeing go on with him and Cuomo, because I think regardless of whether or not Andrew Cuomo intends to run, which I think is foolhardy because he is literally our disgraced ex-governor, and regardless of what is happening with Eric Adams.
See, that's exactly what I said, but believe it or not, right? See, you know what I'm saying? Her name, the naivety, her name is coming out. You feel what I'm saying? She thinks that because Governor Cuomo left in disgrace, that he can't literally just walk right back in and win. I actually think that if Cuomo ran, I actually think that he has a chance to win. Shout out to Deneen. Don't get in no car accident now. Make sure you keep your eyes on the road. Don't get in no car accident now. Keep your eyes on the road now.
Which I think is foolhardy because he is literally our disgraced ex-governor, and regardless of what is happening with Eric Adams' popularity, he is still somebody who had to resign after 11 sexual assault allegations in New York State. The Attorney General found that there was credibility in 11 different allegations. So we still don't want him, but I think it's important to think about the context as to why he's saying this now, because I think this is a recognition that the tides are turning on Eric Adams, that Andrew Cuomo even feels willing to say this loudly, that he'd run for mayor. And I think Eric Adams needs to downplay whether or not he's running is basically trying to hold off and thwart people from coming out and speaking against him now, or people being willing to run against him, or people being willing to take him on. So I think that's what we're seeing, is that the tides are shifting on Eric Adams.
Yeah, I was going to say, you want to talk about sexual misconduct allegations. What Cuomo faced was a lot more recent, was adjudicated much more substantially. And frankly, those allegations were just the tip of the iceberg.
So see, even he's admitting it. You know what I'm saying? Like, even he's admitting that what Andrew Cuomo had going on was a lot more severe than what Eric Adams had going on. But yet Andrew Cuomo thinks that he's just gonna waltz back in and it's gonna be all good. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is that we know how the world operates, and the way that the world operates is that it is a possibility that Andrew Cuomo could waltz right back in there. That is indeed a possibility. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of people, including a state senator, made, frankly, even more serious accusations of COVID, the nursing home deaths being attributed to his policies. Also, very well demonstrated his efforts to cover that up in order to have his book sell more. So this is, not, I think, a figure that people are necessarily clamoring for. But I'm not in New York. I'm not, talking to the people on the ground. Is there some fondness for Cuomo that wouldn't be obvious to national reporters in another city?
No, I don't think there's any fondness for Cuomo, but I do think that what happened to Cuomo is mirroring a lot of what's happening to Eric Adams, right? Before the sexual assault allegations were what ultimately put the nail in Cuomo's coffin. What happened first was the scandal with the nursing homes, public outcry about how he was handling Rikers, and then the sexual assault allegations. In Eric Adams' case,
I gotta agree with that. I gotta agree with that 110%. Zintober says, I've learned to take whatever black people of a different background say with a grain of salt and hold them at arm's length until they've proven they're with us. I don't make the rules. I just follow them. No, I agree with that 100%. And for me, the reason is I've been in the United States my entire life. You know what I'm saying? I've always been a black man. You know what I'm saying? I grew up with my family. You know what I'm saying? My dad had a heavy influence on, the way that I developed. And there was a lot of stuff that my dad taught me. You know what I'm saying? That is just reflex. And I know a lot about Black American history. And a lot of times what you have a situation of is you will have somebody like her literally sit there and try to tell you about your Black American experience when either you're only a second generation person in this country or you literally just got off the boat yourself. And I'm not going to accept that or do that. That's what this is like, is basically like if you have a doctor who's been a physician, you know what I'm saying? This doctor has been a physician for 30 years and you have an intern or a resident trying to give you advice on how to diagnose a problem. I'm not going to take no advice from a resident or an intern. I'm going to talk to the 30-year physician. These people come over here as residents and interns and they think they telling us, who are the physicians, how to operate. Like, nah, that's not how that works. It's not how it'll ever work. And a lot of times these people have too much pride to admit that. You know what I'm saying? Well, to me, you know what I'm saying, it don't matter what you admit. That's the facts. And I'm not finna sit here and listen to you about nonsense. I wouldn't sit here and tell a South African about apartheid. You know what I'm saying? I'm not about to sit here and listen to somebody who, you know what I'm saying, didn't have a family that migrated to the North, you know what I'm saying, about no slavery in WS here in the United States. You can tell me about colonization all day. You want to tell me about Jim Crow and all that nonsense? I'm not about to hear it from you, because coming from you, that's all it's going to be is nonsense. You're not going to have any experiment or any experience of it. You're not going to have any frame of reference of it. Nothing. These people are so naive. They even think that we got our last names from marriages. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's ridiculous. And I can't get down like that. I can't listen to that. You know what I'm saying?
It has been the news. This is well substantiated all over the news, and the federal receivership and the federal monitor that's in charge of looking over Rikers has already spoken to this. But multiple things. Eric Adams reestablished stop and frisk. Eric Adams got rid of the policy in which the New York Department of Corrections would inform the public when in custody deaths.
That's big facts. And if you ask me, that right there is another contributing factor to why a lot of them come over here with the attitudes that they have. That right there. You know what I'm saying? And again, it's just like, nah, I'm good.
Happened. Eric Adams decided he'd had enough of public outcry about the fact that there have been more deaths in Rikers than ever before now that he's been mayor. So he completely got rid of the policy, and they stopped announcing in custody deaths altogether. Then there were repeated scandals of multiple death cover-ups at Rikers. And then now you have the FBI looking into his campaign. And then now you have these sexual.
Yeah, hey, she got FBA on the brain. Did you hear? Listen.
Rid of the policy, and they stopped announcing in custody deaths altogether. Then there were repeated scandals of multiple death cover-ups at Rikers. And then now you have the FBA allegation.
The FBA allegations. She's been sitting around listening on some spaces, so we already know what her next video content will be about.
Rid of the policy, and they stopped announcing in custody deaths altogether. Then there were repeated scandals of multiple death cover-ups at Rikers, and then now you have the FBA allegation.
The FBA allegation. Freudian. Right. Oh, she got a little Freudian slip. You know what I'm saying? Freudian slip. Oh man, she was waiting. She was waiting. There it is.
The FBI looking into his campaign, and then now you have these sexual assault allegations. So I think Eric Adams is actually getting ready to go to way Cuomo.
Yeah, I mean, the polls, we're not New Yorkers, but there was polling of New Yorkers that echoes what you're saying here, Ole. 33% of city respondents think that with respect to the Turkish debacle, the FBI investigation, that he did something illegal. That's 33%. 39% think that he did something unethical, but not illegal, meaning the overwhelming majority think that he did something seriously wrong. You alluded to some of these budget issues. I've seen a lot of people complaining that while you have these robots that are going through the subway station that are being escorted.
MC Fact said, what FBA allegations? The allegations that we are the only group of people in the United States who are eligible for slavery reparations. You know what I'm saying? Those allegations. She got that New York action. She'd be like, what about racism reparations, son? You know what I'm saying? Y'all FBA out here sounding mad crazy, son. You know what I'm saying? Y'all FBA out here sounding mad crazy, B. You know what I'm saying? We be dealing with racism too, son. You know what I'm saying? We be dealing with racism too, son. Ain't nobody trying to get no racism reparations. Slavery reparations. And depending on what nation you come from, your nation might owe us too.
By police officers, unclear with their purposes. There's no funding to keep the libraries open on the weekends when people need libraries. Your points being made about Rikers and some of the ongoing criminal justice issues in New York City. Really.
Oh, I believe it. And yo, speaking of which, right? When it comes to people like her, do you ever notice that those women like that? You know what I'm saying? Those women, they like the Somali woman, right? They never talk about Somali men. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what country in Africa she's from. I haven't seen any videos on her channel going after any of the men from whatever country she's from. But those women always come after FBA men. Have you guys ever noticed that? What's up with that? Now, I'm not trying to be funny, but your parents told y'all to stay away from us. You know what I'm saying? So if you're doing what your parents say and to stay away from us, you shouldn't have no complaints because you wouldn't be coming in contact with us anyway. You know what I'm saying? So what's the problem? Like, make it make sense. Their parents actually tell them to stay away from us. Hey, that's cool. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. You know what I'm saying? But then you still got to make content and talk crazy. I don't understand why they never really specify or talk about the men from their culture. Like the fake brick lady, like Brickgate. She was at a spot where it was a whole bunch of Somalians at, and she basically was implying that FBA men didn't do nothing for her. Well, if you had went to the hospital and got a Benadryl shot for that allergy that swole up on the side of your head like a goose egg, then if you would have had an FBA doctor, then he would have gave you some injection Benadryl. You know what I'm saying? But now, why didn't you criticize the Somalian men? Why don't you criticize them Somalian men that's running around blowing stuff up over there? You know what I'm saying? Part of that Islamic group called Al-Shabaab. Why don't y'all do something about that? You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my man Lunch. What's good with it, bro? So I don't get that. I don't understand that. Honestly, I don't care. you know what I'm saying? If your parents tell you to stay away from us, also staying away from us means like to not even bring us up, not to summon our essence. So the fact that you do that is weird. You know what I'm saying? The fact that they do that is weird. And I think people should question it. You know what I'm saying? And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, shout out to everybody that's watching. If y'all haven't smashed the like button yet, please take a moment, smash that like button. Also, if you guys haven't hit the bell, please take a moment, hit that bell. And also, if you guys have not shared the stream, please take a moment and share the stream.
Ring true. If not Cuomo, then who? Because we know we got into this Eric Adams situation in part because there was a failure to consolidate around a liberal or a left-leaning candidate once Stringer dropped out suddenly in response to a different set of sexual allegations, misconduct allegations that were considered to be, in retrospect, I think, much less serious than some of the allegations that we're talking about with respect to Cuomo and others.
I think we have the opposite problem now. You know, I fully agree. I discussed that in my basically documentary on Eric Adams that I have on my show about the mayoral election and the ranked choice and how we got into that issue of people not consolidating. Now I think we have the opposite problem. We haven't had really anybody willing to become a contender, not any serious ones that I've heard of, against Eric Adams. And I think because when I was last having these kind of conversations with people on the ground and organizers, it seemed like the consensus was that it was too late, that someone would have had to start earlier, that no one was really willing to challenge him. But I think that the tides are going to turn on that, because I think that was when it seemed established, or it seemed assumed that he would get another term because it wasn't a contender. Now that there are all these allegations and it seemed like he might end up losing, he might end up having to resign and disgrace altogether, let alone be able to run for a second term.
I don't see that happening. So what I want you guys to pay very close attention to, I want you guys to pay very close attention to how this is being discussed. They're discussing this as if he's already been found guilty. First of all, there's no criminal allegations. If I'm not mistaken, this is a civil trial. And second of all, the investigation's not even anywhere near done. So, and I don't really see Eric Adams doing that. What do you guys, did you guys think that Eric Adams will just quit? I don't see him doing that. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, like I said, even as far, and it's interesting, do you guys notice how, and again, I hate to do this, right? I hate to do this. Actually, I don't. You know what I'm saying? But do you notice how the women are hyper-focused on the SA allegations? They haven't even brought up the allegations of the bribery and improper campaign funding. Do you guys notice how they're hyper-focused on that? I'm not trying to be funny, man, but there's been a long-going stereotype where women just go around and act like the only thing that men think about is sex. And I'm not trying to be funny, but man, I'm so tired of that shit. I think that the modern day way that women carry themselves and what's shown on TikTok, all the OnlyFans content, you know what I'm saying? These rappers, now that they have creative ability over their own music, that shows who's actually got that shit on the brain more. You know what I'm saying? That shows who's actually got that on the brain. They sat up here and babbled, her and Brianna Joy Gray, which is something else that's not uncommon when you get two individuals together. You know what I'm saying? They sat up here and babbled about sexual assault allegations for this entire video and haven't mentioned anything about the Turkish fund. So this has gone from The Hill to Fox Soul Light. You know what I'm saying?
So I think maybe now I'm going to look and see if other people emerge as willing to run against him. Right now, all I've heard from is Andrew Cuomo, and we don't want him. No one's taking Andrew Cuomo. So as of now, there are no serious contenders for Eric Adams. But I think we might see now that the tides are turning against him, and I think the Democratic establishment is starting to turn.
Super facts, Torian. Let's talk about the female violator. How many cases of females violating students in school are there? How many cases of males doing that are there? Way more female cases. You know what I'm saying? Which is fascinating, because what that shows is that in a trusted situation where there's quote unquote female authority, right? What that shows is that they'll abuse that authority, which is counterintuitive if you look at the quote unquote grape statistics. So what that basically means is that when it comes to a quote unquote female grape of a male, those go virtually unprosecuted at all, unless it's dealing with a minor. You know what I'm saying? And it's just okay. And the very people who set society up to be like this are the very people that say, it's just so hard for men. Well, if you actually set up a society like you claim and want to take credit for, if you actually set up a society, then a society wouldn't function in that fashion. And that's, again, one of the reasons why, if you ask me, this is an illegitimate society. It's not, this isn't a society that we live in. This is somebody's oppressive, emotional, wet dream that needs to be reorganized. You know what I'm saying?
On him, probably with all of his noise about the migrant crisis and complaining about Joe Biden, I think that we'll see probably someone willing to challenge him.
Shout out to Leonard. You know what I'm saying? Leonard said she was on training day, and Tuco from Breaking Bad said, "Hey Holmes, you ever had your hairline pushed back? I had my hairline pushed back. It was at the barbershop one time. He had a set of walls and I told him to use Andis and he pushed my shit back." Oh man, you know what I'm saying? That's terrible, man. That's terrible, man. That's those FBA allegations. You know what I'm saying? That's those FBA allegations. Shout out to my man KO Kid Fit. Yo, shout out to my man KO Kid Fit, man, for doing his first live stream on the KO Kid Fit channel, man. I didn't get a chance to check out that much of it. I'm gonna definitely go back and watch the replay. Shout out to you and me and We Lit. You know what I'm saying? My fellow podcast goats in the building. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my man Kid Gravity. You know what I'm saying? For supporting the channel for 6 months. Do not move a muscle. You know what I'm saying? Undocumented Bros Global will be up in a few. And as always, ladies and gentlemen,
walk up in the life. Yeah, I'm really talking my shit like I'm really him. Hold up, look, walking this bitch like, hey. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like, hey. I'm really him. Don't believe me? Come and see me. Got 3 wishes from my genie. Now I'm on your local TV. Y'all on tour. Got demons. Say she wanna come and see me when I'm in a local city. I'm like, pause though. Please step aside so they can see me. And I walk up in this light. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like I'm really him. On God. Walk up in this light. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like I'm really him. I'm the realest from my city. That's on my knee, that's on Kiwi, that's on mamas. Niggas don't believe me, come and see me. I been dodging all that face. All these niggas working broke, but I been getting paid. All that know me from the street. Flexing for what feature, that's like every other week. Talk behind my back, I kick my feet up, have a seat. Cause at the end of the day, all these watching me as I walk up in this light. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like I'm really him. On God. Walk up in this light. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like I'm really him. On God. Walk up in this light. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like I'm really him. Hold up. Look, walking this light, hey. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like, hey. I'm really him, hold up.